was 40 when I was pregnant with my twins. And during that time, everybody's going like, "Oh, you could have one glass of wine. Did you know you can have one glass of wine?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't want one glass of wine. Like who wants one glass of wine?" I kept thinking that to people. I was like, it's like these people don't know how drinking works.
And I am here with Sara. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm
Of course.
excited.
Of course. Long time no talk.
Yeah, right? Just last week.
Peek behind the curtain. I just did your podcast, which you heard about in the intro, No More Wasted Days. And now you're doing my podcast
Yep.
because
Which
we're going
is,
to hear your whole story.
yeah, so I'm excited to get into it.
So, okay. I mean, hmm, let's, I like to start at the beginning. Tell me about
Okay.
your drinking career.
My drinking career really didn't start until like my 20s. Like I
Oh,
was, what was that?
I said, oh,
Oh yeah, right?
interesting.
I know. So I drank in high school and I did drink in college. So it probably more started like when I was 18 and started going to like the keg parties where you could pay, some random guy some dollars and then you got your red solo cup and you could drink out of the keg. And I feel like that's when drinking became more regular for me because in high school it was just too hard to get alcohol for me. Like I was like, this is kind of a pain. I did smoke weed and I was a total stoner in high school. That was easier to get because all you had to know somebody who knew a dealer. So it was like, I guess I was a little backwards in getting into the alcohol scene. And then it just slowly progressed. Like it became weekend drinking in college, always binge drinking in college, which now looking back should have been my sign. Like I would binge drink. I would definitely have brownouts from the night. I don't remember major blackouts in college. And then when I graduated from college, became a teacher, it's like my drinking just progressed, which you would think it would be the opposite, but instead it became like, okay, I was a music teacher, so I would get done with the musical performance and it would be like grab the PE teacher and let's go to the bar to celebrate that I'm done. And I'd call in sick to work the next day because I drank too much at the bar celebrating. And then I met my now husband and we loved to drink together. Like that was the thing we did from the get-go, and making martinis, drinking beer, drinking wine, drinking it all. And I don't want to blame it on Ryan because I know it was progressing anyway. And both of us just progressed as drinkers just until we finally quit. And we actually quit drinking together. I'd say that the only time I was sober during our whole relationship before we quit when I was 40 was when I was pregnant with my twins. And during that time, everybody's going like, "Oh, you could have one glass of wine. Did you know you can have one glass of wine?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't want one glass of wine. Like who wants one glass of wine?" I kept thinking that to people. I was like, it's like these people don't know how drinking works. And I was also really afraid that I would have one glass of wine and I would want more because I knew I was that kind of drinker already. Although I would never tell you I had a drinking problem during any of that time. And then I actually quit drinking because my husband said, I don't think I can keep drinking the way we've been drinking. I think I'm going to quit. Like he was very like, I'm going to quit. And I was like, what the hell? That's not okay. And
Did
he
it
had
feel
listened.
like that felt like it came out of nowhere?
It actually did not because we would talk about quitting. He would talk about quitting when he was sober. I would talk about quitting when I was drunk. Every time I was drunk, I was slurred speech telling Ryan, like, I think I'm an alcoholic. I think I have a drinking problem. And he's saying, no, you're not. You don't have a problem. You're fine. Like at that, he's enabling me then. And then when we were sober, he would be saying, like, I think I got to quit drinking. Like I'm hungover all the time. Like it's really impeding on work. And I was like, no, what we got to get better at drinking. Like we have to become better at moderating and being more responsible because I was really like, this is who I am, except when I was drunk. So when he said it, I was angry, but I was also kind of like, thank thank goodness, like one of us is finally saying enough is enough. Because it's like one of us had to do it. And I knew I was going to go along with him because we were drinking
So how much
partners.
after you had your kids was this?
Oh gosh, our kids were 8 because I think I had,
Oh.
yeah. So,
So you were
uh,
sober when you were pregnant,
mhm.
which I think is a really common thing for
Oh
women,
yeah.
right? It's like, and then when you get pregnant, I've said this many times, even on this podcast, but I think for some women, it's kind of a mind fuck because you have no trouble quitting drinking when you're pregnant. So then you go,
Yeah.
well, then I'm fine.
Yeah. And
Like it's
had
not a
zero
problem.
problem. Like I didn't even miss it. When people would say, like, you could have a glass of wine, like part of me was like, why would I want that? That's not how alcohol works. But another part of me was like, I don't want like it doesn't sound good to me right now. And so I was really just like, oh, I have no problem. And and even after I was trying to nurse and failing, but I was like, oh, okay, so I can't drink right now and that's kind of a pain in the ass because I was looking forward to it. But I was like, okay. Like it was still easy to stay on the mission and I would be like, it was because I was a mom and I knew I had to be responsible. But then once I was done trying to nurse, it all went back to the drinking that it was before.
Did it,
So,
did it get worse? I
oh
mean,
yeah.
for me, after I had my daughter, I definitely think I was drinking more. And also, I think because, did you go back to work right away?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. See, I think for me, I didn't go back to a job, and I
Hmm.
had been working, like a lot of hours, and I was like in TV, and I had sort of an identity, and then all of a sudden, I had a baby, and I was just home all day, and the lines got very blurred of like when you start drinking. You know what I mean? It just felt like, and
Yeah.
I was trying to kind of get back to my old self, but maybe I'll start a blog, but I I would imagine if you go back to work, your life gets back. But then I'm so curious. Tell me more about that because now
Well,
you
so
now you have to go back to your job, but you also have twins at home, so that sounds hard.
yeah, and I definitely at that point my drinking was lower than it was at the end. And I'm trying to remember. I was not working. I was working part-time for like the first 2 years that they were born kids. But
Babies. Yeah.
then yeah, babies. And then I think probably when they were 2 or 3, I took a full-time job as a choir teacher and I kept my drinking much more under control then. But then I became part-time and I only taught 2 days a week. And that's when my drinking really picked up because Tuesday was now Friday. And my husband always worked from home. He's an entrepreneur and had his own business and I was a beach body coach working the multi-level market scene. So I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Wow.
yeah, right." So I was like, "I can build this other business and I can and I say business in quotation marks now, but I can build this other business and
Wait, this
make
is a
enough
whole
money."
other podcast. So
I know,
how long
right?
did you do that?
I was a beach body coach. I started in 2015. And I will say I was making money from Beachbody until they dissolved last year. But I wasn't working the business anymore by 2020. I was just kind of letting little checks come in still here and there. And yeah, but Beachbody did allow me to leave my teaching job. It allowed me to build no more wasted days because it gave me that space. But it also created this like they would talk to us in training saying, figure out your 5 pillars. What are the 5 things that you're going to show off on social media about you that make you look fun and make people want to be attracted to you? Because there's millions of Beachbody coaches. And I was like, well, I'm going to be the lady who drinks beer. That's my personality. I drink beer and I work out all the time. And look at me, I'm so fit. So I was totally glamorizing alcohol for the world to see.
Oh my God, I love that so much though, but it's really smart actually.
It was. And then all of a sudden I quit and I was like, well, what the hell do I say? Because I was still a Beachbody coach. And at that time, my business was doing well. And I was like, well, I'm not going to quit this. And that's when I started being like, well, I know how to lead people in a workout challenge. Why don't I see if some people want to do sober October with me? Like, and this was just for fun. I was 6 months sober, I think, at the time. And obviously that's enough time to be sober and be like, come along with me. I know all the answers. So I was like, come do this challenge with me. I'll make a Facebook group. And I started leading like friends and family through challenges. So it was kind of like, I don't want to say Beachbody morphed into No More Wasted Days because I treat No More Wasted Days so much differently. And I'm also not trying to tell people that they can also build a business just like me and make millions of dollars. So there's not that side. But it definitely allowed me to shift my identity, and I started changing my story on Beachbody too to like I'm working out without a hangover. Like I bet you didn't know this story about me. I was always doing my workouts and showing them to all of you, and I was terribly hungover and felt like shit. And now I'm not. And so it all just kind of shifted and morphed. And it's
I think, I mean, it, I feel so many similarities with you. I feel your story because of my whole having written sippy cups and being like the drinking mom, and then
yeah,
having to go like, uh-oh, never mind, I quit drinking, and
right?
wondering if that would really affect not my business, but yeah, but like my brand, because I was the
Yeah.
person who really embraced like, I love to drink, nothing wrong with that. Like, and especially moms drinking, it's cool. So I
It's
could
so
see you being
cool.
like, beach body, like we care about our body, but also we could drink beer, like we're fun. And then
Yeah.
having to be like, uh-oh, yeah, so I'm not doing that. But
Yeah, I took it a little
also,
too far.
I there's something, and I don't know if it's just like if it's us or if it's just like addicty personalities, but I have kind of for a long time before I found out that how harmful MLMs are, but I always thought that would be very cool. Like I thought it would be a great easy moneymaker to sell Stella and Dot. That was
Oh
my thing.
yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yep.
I was like, how great is this? So, at one point, I was working at this show and I had a friend do a Stella and Dot party at my house. I saw no problem with it. I was just like, I invited all these people who worked for me uh,
Yeah.
to my house to do like this friend's jewelry party. And they all apparently felt pressured to buy overpriced jewelry.
You're like, it's great though. Come on. And I'm going to get discounts on my jewelry. And now you can do a party and do the same thing.
I thought it was the greatest thing, and I was always like, "Oh my God, this is going to be my new way to make like a ton of money." So I could just, and I feel like with you too, I'm very, whatever I do, I get very all in.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is a very all or nothing.
I
We're
that's
drinking or we're not drinking, or we're trying to quit drinking, or we're celebrating the fact that we drink, right? It's such a
yeah.
mindset.
Oh, yeah. I always say like addicts are the all or nothing people. And when you quit drinking, you have to go all in on not drinking. Like you can't waver on it because if you waver and you've got the mindset that we have, you're going to go right back to old patterns. But if you are like, I'm alcohol free now, this is what I do. I'm very passionate about it. Like it's kind of how I've done everything. And I can't say it's like the healthiest mindset, but it's actually gotten me a lot of great places. So
I think, and would you say this is true as well, that one thing that we say like in 12 step is I wish you desperation, because I feel like you really have to want to quit drinking to quit
yeah.
drinking, because, and I'm speaking for all people who eventually quit drinking or who want to quit drinking. Moderating is impossible, but we
Hmm.
will fight to the death to be able to moderate until usually something has to happen. It has to be proven to us that like, I just can't drink. So now
Yeah.
I got to go all in the other way. And did you have a moment like that, or was it more like your husband's moment and you came along for the ride, or?
I didn't have like the quintessential rock bottom that people talk about. I can look back at my drinking and see so many moments where I'm like, that should have been a rock bottom. Like I broke my toe and had absolutely no recollection of how it happened. I did that at my husband's 40th birthday. I didn't quit drinking for 2 more years. Like that was a night where I was a morning where I was texting friends going, did you see me fall? Like my toe is so swollen. Like I have a friend who's a nurse that was at the party taking a picture and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's broken." And I was like, "What can I do?" She's like, "Nothing." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I'm just like, "Okay, that should have been a sign. No, I'm going to keep on drinking." And it just I think it had to just be all of the compiled things for me. Like I always tell people we went on a cruise 2 months before we quit drinking, 1 month maybe. And it was a beach body cruise. And I bought us the drink package, which is really expensive. And like I told my husband, like, we got to show this cruise. Like we're gonna make our money back. And we drank from morning till night. Like we drank so much on that cruise. I look back at it now and I'm like, I don't even know how we survived. And but we did. We had very high tolerance, I guess. And then came back from the cruise and I was ready to keep that party going. And I think Ryan was like, "Oh, we got to stop. Like, we're just like, let's try to keep drinking." And at the time, I was teaching 2 days a week. And so I guess like sometimes I tell people my rock bottom was that, but it was just, I mean, it was just compiled so many things. And I think I had to step back and take a break to see how bad it really was. And when Ryan said, like, "I'm quitting," I thought, I'll do 30 days. And I thought we'd make it 7. But I told myself, I'll do 30 days because a person who has a drinking problem cannot quit for 30 days. Like I was still going to prove to myself that I didn't have a drinking problem. And then during that 30 days, I still didn't say I had a drinking problem. I didn't say I had a drinking problem until I was like 2 years alcohol free. It was probably when I was like, oh, I think I was just a little bit of an alcoholic. Like I just had a little bit of a drinking problem during that time. And, I had to step away to go, oh my God, all these moments were terrible moments for you. And you were just like acting like they were normal. But I surrounded myself with people who drank the way I did. So it felt normal.
So right before you quit, did you go through the phase that a lot of us go through where you're like, okay, I really am going to try to regulate? Because it sounds
Oh,
to me
yeah.
like you hit a point. I'm more things in common. I feel like because I went through my I'm going to moderate and I tried so hard. And then toward the end, I was just like, screw it. Moderating's too hard. So I'm just going to drink as much as I want.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty
would
much
have been
what
you
it
at the
was.
cruise, right? So,
Yeah.
but before that, were you doing the okay? I'm not going to drink on the weekends, or I'm not going to drink
Mhm.
during.
Oh, yeah. Like I was like, I'll only drink on Friday and Saturday. And on Friday, I will have 2 drinks. And on Saturday, I will have 3. Like I was very much like, if I can stay in these, I was never able to do that. But I would do like 21-day cleanses and be like, okay, well, this is that eating thing. But no, you can't drink alcohol while you do it. And I would tell myself, like, well, you don't drink alcohol while you do those. So obviously, but I thought about alcohol the whole time. Like, alcohol was the hardest part of those cleanses for me, where I was just like, oh my God, when are we going to be done so I can just have a glass of wine? But oh, yeah, I would be like, I will only have wine on Tuesday and Friday. Like, I'll give myself one weeknight and just I'll only drink wine and beer. That was when I was really trying to be like, I just won't do the hard alcohol anymore. I won't do shots. If I don't do shots, then there's no problem. Like so many rules and so many breaking the rules. It was so exhausting.
I was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills the other
Oh,
night,
yeah.
and right now Sutton is, was being checked for her drinking a bunch last season. So this season, she's like, I'm not really drinking, but that doesn't mean wine for her. That just means I'm not having tequila and I'm not having vodka. And it's just funny as an alcoholic to just
Yeah.
go, all right, we'll see how that works out. That has just
Oh, yeah.
never worked for anybody that I know to be like, I'm just not going to drink hard alcohol. But it sounds good in theory.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
usually does work for a while where you're like, oh, I'm not getting totally hammered. But then
Yeah.
eventually you do.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Your quitting story is interesting to me because it sounds like you did not do 12 step. You were just like, I'm just gonna quit drinking for 30 days. That's which is a little bit like a one day at a time. Like I can do that
Yeah.
for 30 days. And then when you made it 30 days, what happened?
Oh, I just knew. Like first, I was enjoying it, which was at first for me. I was reading a lot of Quit Lit. Like I was immersing myself in the alcohol-free world, and I was finally seeing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like other people do this. This is not just me having all these thoughts, these questions. And I was like, okay. And I also got to 30 days, and I was like, there is no way I can go back to drinking and handle myself. Like I knew I wasn't quote unquote fixed yet. So I was like, go to 60. And then I got to 60 and I felt this at that point, I felt more just like I'm doing so good and this is becoming so easy. And not having hangovers was amazing and not feeling the guilt. Like I didn't realize how much guilt and shame I carried around over my drinking. So then it was like set the goal at 100. But once I hit 100, I pretty much knew I just wasn't drinking anymore.
What about
And
Ryan? How was he? How was
oh, I feel like he just quit. I always tell him that. I'm like, what the? Like, you just were like, I'm going to quit. I don't need to count days. I don't need to, like, I'm just done with alcohol. And he'll always be like, well, also, you were so excited about it. And you talk about it so much through No More Wasted Days that it's like, obviously, I have that piece of it. But he was not actually feeling like I was like, oh my God, I'm so creative without alcohol. I'm so much funnier. I have so much energy. And he was kind of like, I'm not having any of that. Like, what?
no
I
pink
quit. And
cloud for that guy?
no, and I was riding the pink cloud for like years, just like, look at me, everybody.
Because
Everybody
we
should do
have
this.
to, because we
Oh,
have
yeah.
to. We have to be all about it, talking about it, reading about it. Like I had to be blogging about it, like
Hmm.
constantly talking about it.
Yeah. And it was really like, I just have to immerse myself in this world and be like, this is amazing. And it was, I mean, it is. I don't want people to think I just did that because it's like, well, this was my way to like lie to myself because I mean, I love being alcohol free. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made, apart from like marrying Ryan and having our kids. That,
So,
go
but
ahead.
okay, so you get to like 100 days and then you're like, well, no, I'm better not drinking. This is okay at that, but you still don't go like, yeah, what, and I'm interested, and I feel like this is worth a conversation about. I feel there's a lot of different ways to quit drinking.
Hmm.
I did it through 12 step, but that's just because that was a way to get support. And that for me, that was a way to really immerse myself. I never had this thing of like, I love that it's a program and there's all these rules because I'm a rebel at heart, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw that in my book. I was like, this is probably bullshit, but that was my way because I didn't have I wasn't working a actual job. So for me, it was like, oh, I didn't know sober people. And now I can be around a bunch of sober women. I can like be talking about sobriety. It was very, very helpful to me. But yet I didn't like the word alcoholic. There were a lot of things that I was like, okay, yeah, but that's not really me. And
Yeah.
for me too, it took me a good solid year before I was like, no, I am no different than anybody else who quits drinking. Like I needed to quit drinking.
Hmm.
But and then for me, embracing that A word, it was a process. Like I would say it because I was in a meeting, but
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
just like, this is what I'm doing because I am better when I'm not drinking and I'm not really safe drinking. But I was like, I don't know why we have to call ourselves like alcoholics. And also I kind of bought into a little bit, and I'm wondering how you feel about this, the whole idea of like surrendering. Like I don't want to like surrender because then I'm giving
Oh,
away my power and like
yeah.
I'm
No
in
way.
control. But at some point, I think I realized, but I'm not in control of my drinking when I drink.
Yeah.
So if I continue to not drink, and that just means I surrender to the idea that I can drink safely. And I can stop trying to fight it in my mind. I can stop trying to be like,
Yeah.
but maybe someday it'll work out for me, or maybe in a year I'll be able to handle it. The idea of surrender for me was looking back at my drinking history. And one of the things about like 12 step is it gives you some like tools to write about, to look at your drinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in looking at my drinking honestly and kind of going back and going, did you fuck up at work because you were hungover, or did you have fights with your husband because you were drunk for no other reason that you're drunk? Once I was able to look at that, I was like, oh, okay, I can surrender to the idea. And now I can freely use the A word without
Yeah.
problem. But I'm wondering if for you, if that was part of it, if you were like, okay, I'm alcohol free, but I don't want to like label myself, or I don't want to be like never again, or, what was
Yeah.
that?
Well, and
What
like
changed for you?
I didn't want to say alcoholic because I didn't want to, I felt like if you were an alcoholic that you had to tell everybody. Like anytime I was just in any room, I'd have to be like, and just so everybody knows I'm an alcoholic. Like like it's just the ideas we have. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I was like, I'm not going to go to a meeting. And I was like, because then I'll have to stand up at the meeting and be like, hi, I'm Sarah, and maybe I'm an alcoholic. And I was
Right.
like, I don't think they'll like that. And I also was very turned off by the God thing. And I have a lot of people on social media inform me that and I totally get like now I'm like, oh, I would benefit so much from AA or just any of the meetings. And it's like, oh, that looks like such a cool thing to me now. But as a person curious, it looked like the scariest thing in the world. The surrendering. I was totally like, I'm not because I'm stronger than alcohol, which I still use that phrase, but I definitely surrendered to like you say, I can't moderate. I can't moderate anything. And now I look at myself and I'm like, oh, well, duh. And I remember at like 6 months, I was so pissed when I figured out I couldn't moderate. Like, I think that's when I left the pink cloud for a moment. And I was like, oh, I can't ever drink again because I will always go back to the way I was drinking before. And I'm always like, well, maybe when I'm 80 and I don't have as many responsibilities. Like maybe then. But then I'm always like, no, why would I want to do it then either? Like it's I just can't manage myself. And I was also smoking weed still. So I felt very much like if I went to an AA meeting, they would be like, well, you got to quit that too. And I'd be like, oh, well, no, I moderate this, which that turned into a whole I don't moderate it. And
Oh, let me hear about this. Yeah.
I had to quit smoking weed when I finally realized, like, oh, you are doing all the same shit you did with alcohol. Like I was making rules that I was breaking. I was ashamed. And it's so much more a hidden thing that it felt okay to hide it. Like my drinking was out there for the world. My weed smoking was not. And I actually started smoking weed more when I quit drinking because
Well,
before
duh.
that, it was, yeah, it was just like a thing I did when I was drunk. Really, I would be like, oh, I smoke some weed when I'm drunk, but I would never just smoke some weed. And then it kind of turned into like, oh, look at me. When I smoke weed, I'm super productive. I do all these chores when I'm high. It's because I was paranoid and I would just be like, I gotta move, I gotta do things. And then it finally turned into this whole like, you're not really sober, which was a word I didn't want to claim for a long time. I wanted to be alcohol free. I liked that. That felt really good. And I was really proud of myself. And I think you should be. And then finally, I started meeting all these other sober women who were badasses. Like, I was like, I want to be them. And I just want to be totally free from substances. And I think weed gets this whole like, it's a plant medicine, it's all these things. And I was like, okay, we're done with that. And that took me right now, I'm at like a year and 5 months weed free, but I did another stint where I was like almost a year. And then I totally was like, fuck this, and went back to it. And that one's been the harder one for me. And I think it's because it's the last thing. Like I've dabbled in caffeine free, but no, I'm not doing that. Like, but weed free, I was like, I got to ditch it. So it just, I feel like it all took me a while. And I feel like there was a lot of me pushing against AA, which I'm like, I have nothing against AA. I think it has helped so many people. And I have now met so many people who have done it. And they're like, yeah, you take what works and you leave the rest. Like, yeah, I don't do the prayers either when I'm there. And I don't do this and I don't do this part, but I do this part. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Well,
Like,
because it feels like there's a lot of rules and it feels
yeah.
like a big group think where if you're not doing it the way you're supposed to be doing it, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I felt that way at the beginning a lot and had a bad attitude, I guess you would say. But I've always had a bad attitude. So that was no surprise. I have people that knew me way back when that were like, I am very surprised you stayed sober because I was pissed all the time. I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And then people were like, well, then don't. Nobody
Like,
cares.
like people
Nobody,
at the meetings were like, you don't have to do that part
then
then. Or
go do
like,
it. Because I would
yeah.
complain and go, well, I'm on my this step, but then I have to, there's all this writing. And I met this guy, really great guy named John, who sadly passed away during my first year of sobriety, but
Oh,
he was so cool and funny and he was like a comedy writer and I really liked him. And I remember complaining to him, I'm supposed to be doing this step work and I have to do all this writing. And he was like, no, you don't. And I was like, what? Well, my sponsor says I do. And he's like, here's this work. He showed me this worksheet. And basically it's your fourth step is you write down resentments and all of these people around me were like writing, like filling notebooks. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I didn't go to college for a reason. I didn't want to do like more schoolwork, you know?
yeah.
And he's like, here, write one line. I'm mad at my father because of this. And then you figure out your part later. And I was like, oh, that's all I have to do. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
how many do I have to do? And he goes, I don't know. There's no rule. There's no rules. There's literally no rules. And I went, oh, okay. And ever since then, I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's
As
so it's like it totally is the rebellious mindset. Like I had to tell myself I'm a rebel because I'm not drinking. Like now look at me, all these other people are drinking, but I'm not. So that makes me the black sheep. Like I had to turn my thinking around that way. But even what you say too of like you have to, that was one I was like, "Oh my God, you have to make amends with people." And that means you have to get on the phone and I don't do phone calls. Like fuck that. Like nope, not going to do it. And I was, and now I look and I'm like, that's not even what it means. Like, there's all these ways you can do it. And it is like a step I've done. And that's one of the things too, because people will be like, if you haven't done the 12 steps, then you're a dry drunk. And I'm like, I have actually done so much work, but kind of went the hard way to get to it. Like I was just kind of finding it all myself and being like, how do you do this part now? And how do you do this part? And I find that it would have been a little easier if I wouldn't have been such a like I was so dead set. I was raised Catholic and I was like, this is going to be like Catholic church and I'm not doing that. No, no, thank you. And now I know there's all these other ways to do it too. Like there's smart recovery and Dharma recovery and a million online communities. So I was just stubborn.
it's hard. And, when I quit drinking, there weren't all those
Yeah.
alternatives. So I wasn't going to go to rehab. I just didn't feel like I had a bad enough problem. I wasn't drinking that much. I didn't need to
Hmm.
detox. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I had a friend who was
Yeah.
sober who was like, let me take you to a meeting. I'd had a lot of sort of bad feelings about meetings in the past, but I was like, all right, I don't have a better idea. And it turned out that I needed it. But like I said, I've kind of fought a lot of those rules along the way. But now we're in our society has so many sort of options for being alcohol free, so many ways to say it, and so many kind of ways to do it, and ways to hang out with other people that don't drink. And now we have a big mocktail trend, so
Yeah.
but
And everybody makes an alcohol-free version now of their thing. It's like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. So when
Like,
you quit the weed, though, were you almost feeling that raw feeling of just like, oh
oh,
God, now I have nothing?
yeah.
The edge
Oh,
on.
yeah. And I quit weed in, gosh, September 2024, somewhere I have the actual start date. And then I was having terrible anxiety. I was having a shitty year was what was happening. But I was having terrible anxiety and I was like, okay, you know what I should do? I should also ditch caffeine because that is probably the anxiety. It's probably nothing wrong with my brain that could be like helped with a low dose of an antidepressant. Like I can hack this. So I was like, okay, you've already quit weed. That was helping a little bit. Don't give up on the weed. You're gonna hit a year on that. That was kind of my deal. Like I'm gonna do this for a year. And then I was like, I'll ditch caffeine too. So then I was just raw dogging life. Trump won his second election, and I was like, oh my God, like 3 days into caffeine free. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And
We
I
all needed
just,
a drink that day.
all of us, and I'm texting a friend who's like ditched caffeine, meth, alcohol, and I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, you should have a cup of coffee. And I'm like, fuck no, this is the hardest part of the withdrawals, and I know it is. And so I'm like, oh, and I was so like numb or meh. I don't want to say numb because I was still fine, but I was just like bored. I, and that's the wrong word too, because I was very busy, but I was just like, nothing was fun. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna laugh really hard again, which is also silly because I was, but it was just like, nothing's
Such a
very
valid
exciting.
feel, though.
Yeah.
Fair. I still sometimes feel that way. Sometimes when I go through a little down
Yeah.
period, I'm like, oh, well, I haven't
Right.
laughed really hard, or I haven't been like super happy. But I feel like you and I have a similar personality that way. We like to feel our highs.
Yes. And I need them a lot. I'm like, I
You
need
need
to
to
make
like
sure.
start a new business or like do a new thing. And then you're like,
Yes.
now I don't do any of these things. So I don't get to quit. There's nothing to quit, really.
I know. I did bring caffeine back in, but it's like, because I was kind of like, oh my God, I don't do anything fun. And like, and it did turn out that I did actually just, I needed a low dose of an antidepressant. It really helped me. And I
Good.
think that was kind of the hurdle the whole time. Like I'd been searching for, like, I had terrible anxiety when I was a drinker and I didn't recognize it because I would just drink and it would go away for a moment and then I would have terrible anxiety and I thought it was the hangovers. And it helped so much when I quit drinking. When I quit drinking, I feel like my anxiety, I didn't have issues for like a good 4 years. And I was like, I fixed it. Look, I'm amazing. And then it came back cuz perimenopause and all that exciting stuff. And and when it came back was when I was ditching weed also and I was like, I'll go back to smoking weed. That seemed to help. Like I was always just trying to hack it. And that's kind of become my thing now with people. I'm like, have you thought about talking to a doctor about any of this? Like, I mean, and I do think that ditching all of these things was really important for me because I needed to know that, okay, well, this is your brain with nothing and it's not working the way you need it to work. Like, you can't have panic attacks while you're just sitting on your couch at home. Like, that's not normal. We need to fix it. So it took my sober brain to get me there. It just took me like a really long time. Sometimes I look and I'm like, oh my God, this took you like so long to realize this. And I'm like, well, it's just how it works sometimes.
I think you and I probably also have this in common. I always want the shortcut. Like
Yes.
it's such bad news to me to think like, oh, if I want to feel relaxed, I have to like do yoga or go to the gym or go for a
Meditate.
walk or
Yeah.
take a bath with rose petals. I'm like, fuck, I could just take a pill.
Right.
It'd be so much quicker.
Exactly.
Not realizing like what goes along with that for me. You know what I mean? Like when I discovered like I dealt with anxiety too. And I thought when I first got a prescription of my own for Xanax, I just thought, oh my gosh, like this is the answer.
Yeah.
Like, how has this been hidden from me for so long? Like, this is such an amazing feeling. Like, this is how people feel. They just don't have anxiety. I saw nothing wrong with the idea of like, well, that's what's been missing. Just being on being on Xanax.
I
Like now
just
I'm
needed
gonna be
this.
fine. And I didn't realize like, oh, and then I developed a dependency very quickly. And then I ran out of Xanax. And then I had a full-blown panic attack and didn't know what was happening to me. And I was in the fetal position, unable to like make a phone call or have a converse. I was full panic. And I was like, oh, well, there's a downside. Like I
Were
guess
you
if I
still
could
drinking when that happened?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
I was. I was like a few weeks maybe after I'd had my twins.
Okay.
So pre sobriety, but I was given Xanax, loved it, then went to a doctor, then was told you need to go to a psychiatrist and have this properly you know, not subscribed, prescribed to you.
Prescribed.
So I went to a doctor, and I don't, if you read my book, you might remember this part. I didn't realize I'd gone to a addiction specialist. But
Oh,
walked in there. He took my insurance and was his office was close by. And I walked in there and it was like, hey, so I have like postpartum anxiety. I've been taking some Xanax. It really works for me. And he was like, okay. I think he did not ask me like if I have substance abuse. I probably did not mention anything about how much I drank. So then I started taking the Xanax like just regularly, like every day, a dose in
yeah.
the morning and a dose at night. And I did that all the way until I quit drinking. As soon
Oh,
as I quit
wow.
drinking, I was like, well, actually, I had already gone down to one pill a day because I didn't like the fact that I had to take the Xanax to like feel okay. So I was
Yeah.
kind of trying on my own, but I still definitely took a full milligram of Xanax every night before bed. When I quit drinking, I was like, I don't feel great about I'm on Xanax, which is an addictive medication. I'm dependent on it. So that's when I started titrating off of that. But yeah.
Yeah.
And the
That
sugar
sounds,
ramped up and then
oh,
but the point is I really thought, well, Xanax is very much helping me. This is how I'm functioning.
yeah.
It was really bad news to me that I was going to have to like do writing and talk about my feelings and like go to the gym. And I was like, God, that's going to take forever to feel better.
Right. And like all of those things are not an immediate payoff. Like I do all of those things still. I do my workouts the way I'm supposed to. I do my meditations. Like I always tell people my meditations are my non-negotiable, and I write down my gratitudes. And I know they all work because when I stop doing them, I start feeling like shit. But I'm just always like, oh, I have to do this the rest of my life now. And I'm like, well,
Yes.
it's better than drinking and being hungover. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's like you have to learn how to adult all over again in like the proper way that we weren't actually, well, we probably weren't taught because my parents weren't like, oh, move your body every day for your mental health. That's not, my parents don't talk mental health, period. So it was like, oh, this is all news to me, like the practicing gratitudes. And it is exhausting, but it does become easier. I want people to know that. Like you just kind of get to the point where like now I lay down in bed and I'm like, do your gratitudes quick as you drift off to a sleepy time. And I'm like, okay, like it works and it does help so much. So
And it's actually easier than trying to regulate your drinking and having that
so much.
obsession all the time and then feeling like shit in the morning. Like all of the things that I'm saying just seemed like bad news to me because it was like, well,
Yeah.
I'd rather just have my wine at night. It's not the
Yeah.
easier way though. It's just not.
No, and you're hiding, you're drinking, or some people are, and it's like you're feeling guilty about it. I never feel guilty that I practiced some gratitudes, that I did a workout. Like I'm never like, oh my God, I shouldn't tell people about this. I'm just
Right,
like,
right. Well, except that it just might annoy them.
I know they might be like, oh, stop. And I'll be like, no, it's okay. My life is still, I still feels hard, but I don't drink anymore.
I'm still sometimes a bitch. Like, trust me, I'm not like that enlightened, I promise.
And then you're like, oh, but I've also done work so I can step back and analyze my bitchiness. And then you're like, okay, wait, no, I'm not going to talk to you about that either.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me what life is like right now. Do you still teach or is the
I
podcast
don't.
full time? Okay.
Yeah, podcast is full time. I run No More Wasted Days full time. And within that, I help people reevaluate their relationship with alcohol because it's what I needed. Like, I needed that reevaluation period and to step back and do a 30-day break or a 100-day break is what I help people with right now.
So coach,
And
you have a
yeah,
website? Where can we
yes,
find
it's
you?
no more wasted days.co. We couldn't get the com when it
Okay.
happened. But and then I'm on social media, and all of my social media handles are no underscore more underscore wasted underscore days. No more wasted days was taken. So, but you'll probably find me if you just search no more wasted days. But, and then besides that, my husband and I have moved out into Western Washington to a piece of property that we bought like in 2012 for glamping. And we decided we should build our own house, which was totally a drunken idea. We were around the fire pit on the land, and I told my husband, like, we don't need someone to build our house. I bet they make kits and we'll have it delivered and we'll do it. And we joke so much about that now, like our sober selves, like we built our own house and we did it all and we vlog about it. So that's like my other job. My jobs are not very typical
I love
these
it.
days. Yeah, it's super fun. And then I always think of you and Lynette though when I'm like building my own house. I'm like, this makes me look like a real go-getter. And I am a no-getter deep, deep down. And I need
I feel
people.
it. I feel your no-getterness, but I'm the same way. People are always like, you're really not such a
I
no-getter.
know. And it's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, but so I'm a house builder and which that I'm always like, guys, I just show up on the build and my husband says, this is your little task. Don't touch anything else.
So is the vlog, can we find that from
It-
nomorewastedays.co as
ac-
well?
Actually, that's called One Foot Off the Grid.
Ooh,
So,
I love
and
that title.
yeah, and that's all just on YouTube, basically. We do TikTok and Instagram, but our YouTube vlog is where it's at. But I would love for
Okay.
people to check that out. And it's fun. It's not a boring vlog. I feel like we're funny in it. We tell some that's what she said jokes during the
Uh-huh.
build.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I'm gonna look that up. Everybody else should too. Sara Kaufman Bradstreet, it's been so good having you. Love this interview. And I'm gonna have you back sometime.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be super fun.
Talk about some topic. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. Go look up Sarah's stuff, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good.